Hey folks, I'm going live a couple of minutes early because I am trying to head off any technical issues. Looks like we might not be live yet, even though this page says we're live. It says the internet can see you now, but this doesn't work. Let's quit this because we're doing it wrong. Okay, so this will start at some point. I don't know when. View on the watch page. That ain't working either. Okay. Let's look at settings. Make sure this is doing what it's supposed to do. Yeah. I think. So let's see. Looking at various things here. Okay. Let's stop again, because this is not happening correctly. Alright, so we're floating at 15 seconds here, so let's hope this is going to work. Alright, so it looks like this is working, sort of. Not exactly how I wanted it to work. So let me... Alright, so it looks... So, if anybody's watching yet, yes, this is the first time I've done this, so expect idiocy. Let me just throw a couple of these up there, and then we'll get started. I tried to get this thing going a couple of minutes early so that I could iron out any technical things going on, and that apparently did not work. Clay, can you hear me now? So we do have a couple of people watching, at least one person watching. So I need to go to the watch page, right? No, that's not it. Go live now, I guess. So I guess we're going with this, and we're going to call it... So I don't know why or how the hell you're supposed to put this together so that you can actually launch the stream from the event rather than launching it from Stream Now, which doesn't make any sense. So whatever. In the meantime, we are... so Atlantic Wall, I'll talk about that in a second. The game I picked for tonight, just because I think it's a little easier to deal with the context of also having to manage first ever live stream, is the Battle for Normandy from GMT. So I have spent a significant amount of time in the last hour and a half setting this thing up. The campaign setup for the module does most of the work for you, but it doesn't do a bunch of the stuff. It doesn't set your strong points. Can't really figure out how to flip the strong points over. Don't know why that's the case. Presumably they would be hidden from an opposing player were there an opposing player. And I set up the beaches. I don't know how far we're going to get here. It kind of depends on how on a number of variables, including how interactive the chat is. And I don't have a second monitor hooked up at the moment, so I'm going to have to flip back and forth here as necessary, and hopefully that won't result in any preposterous delays, but we'll see what happens. So, the Battle for Normandy from GMT. These are the rules which are available, rules and scenario book which are available from GMT's website. I think I have not screwed up the setup too badly. Let me warn anybody that there could be profanity in the chat, if anybody's concerned about that. I'm not, so so I am willing to field whatever questions anybody has. Really on any subject except fucking politics. Stay away from that. So I did warn you there might be profanity. All right, so let's get to the airdrop segment, because we start the so we're doing the June 6th turn here. So going up to the turn record track, let me make sure this is accurately reflected. Okay, so this is fine. And it looks like Vassal locked up a little bit on me. That's fantastic. Fantastic timing. Thank you, Vassal. Actually, this is likely to be a Java-related issue, to be honest about it. It should unscrew itself momentarily. So I've got the beaches set up. So let me, we'll shoot you that on G Plus after we're done here, Clay. Thank you very much. That is most appreciated. So if you, I dug around quite a bit online. So the deal is that the Battle for Normandy Vassal module is not complete. It doesn't contain the player aid card, which contains the CRT and the terrain effects chart and some other stuff that you need. So I did kind of ask around, but I didn't want to push too hard because I didn't want to step any toes here. And looks like Clay has volunteered to come through for me. So what I did was I downloaded the Italian rules from GMT's website and translated them from Italian back into English and turned them into Excel charts. That was a pain. My command of Italian is pretty adequate if you're talking about the Italian that they spoke about 2,100 years ago. If you want to talk about modern Italian, I haven't the vaguest idea what I'm talking about. So we're going to, I think, work west to east here. That seems to make the most sense. And I believe I can kill this now, because that was just a test to see whether this works. I'm planning on going for an hour till 9. We'll see. It could go later. I could put my fist through the monitor as well. So we'll see what happens. So we're going to start with the 508th Regiment of the 82nd Airborne, and let's look at their drops. So I'm gonna paw through this manually. So I hope nobody minds. I will disclaim now that if anybody is going to have a big issue with me pawing through the rules, I hope I can remain entertaining from a vocal standpoint. But if you're going to have an issue with me looking a lot of stuff up, then I apologize, but that is going to be the nature of this particular video because I haven't gotten any farther in the Battle for Normandy than landing stuff. So we do not roll for drift, unlike Atlantic Wall. Let me talk about Atlantic Wall. Okay, so I did a video the other night about Decision Games Atlantic Wall, which is part of the Gauss series, and so what I'm kind of trying to figure out here is which one of these rather expensive games I want to save up the cabbage to buy. And right now, I'm a little more free to explore Atlantic Wall because the Vassal module is more complete. And there is a new Gauss rulebook that was released several weeks ago, and then like last week, I think they released a new Atlantic Wall scenario book, now called Scenario Rules rather than the game-specific rules. The difference in clarity and organization between the old book and the new book in both cases is very, very striking. So it's it's still quite a complicated game. This is, even though the rulebook looks big, it's really not nearly as complicated. I mean, there's a lot here. I'll let you go back and read the commentary or the blog post if you want to go to ardwulfslair.wordpress.com. There's a blog post comparing the two that's brand new today, I think. I think that went up today. But in any case, let's get moving here. So we do the Pathfinders. Roll for drop accuracy. Roll 1d6 for accuracy. Oh, so we do drift the Pathfinders. Did I misremember this? I think I must have. All right, so they can drift up to 1 hex. So on a 1 to 3, they are accurate, and on a 4 to 6, they are off target. So rolling for the 508th, we have a 5. So they're going to land 1 hex away and direction 5. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're going to land right here. So those Pathfinders are off. I'm going to actually roll for all the Pathfinders. So let's roll for the 507th. They also drift 1 hex in direction 5. Let's roll for the 505th. They also drift 1 hex in direction 6. Let's move to the 101st Airborne. 102nd Airborne would be a fantastic division if it existed. They will drift 1 in direction 4. The 506th will drift 1 in direction 2, putting them dangerously close to a rather beefy German strongpoint. Of course, I shouldn't, as the Allied player, know the strength of this strongpoint, but for whatever reason, the vassal module won't let me hide it. So, and I will check the chat in a couple minutes. I have rolled like several consecutive fours for this, so we're going to drift 1 hex in direction 3. So that's here. Now, what happens when we drop into a flooded hex? If the target hex is a flooded hex, move the Pathfinder 1 additional hex in the direction. In the wait a minute. We gotta stretch this shit. We gotta stretch this just a bit. Direction per the direction chart. Okay, so move it 1 additional hex in the 1 direction, which would be here. But that hex is also flooded, so move it instead to the 2 direction, and so on and so forth. So we're going to go to 2, we can't, 3 we can't, 4 we can't, 5 we can, so we're going to land here. So we can't land in the flooded hexes. And I think the flooded and marsh are identical in this game. So the Pathfinders pretty much just stay here, but let's go do the British guys. So I have pulled off the stacks. And I want to say that the British... I don't see anything here that says the British don't drift as much. And sure enough, this unit will in fact drift, and it will drift 1 in direction 6 to land in the woods. Woods are okay, I believe. Yep, woods are fine. That is the 3rd Brigade of the 6th British 6th Airborne. The 5th Brigade will, once again, we rolled a 4. And we're moving in direction 4. And for the 8th Brigade, we have a 4 again. I might as well not roll. And they're going to go in direction 1. So these guys are not dropped yet. These guys are just where they're placed, and that is okay. All right, so let's move back to the, what are these? Oh, these are the companies. Okay, well, we'll figure that out when it shows up. They will drop in with these guys, but we'll figure it out at the time. I just have to remember that this is a separate stack of them. So moving back to the 82nd. Now we have, let's see here. These are stacks of 4 that we pulled down from the airborne holding boxes. So we are looking at the 82nd. So this is the 82nd. So that's the ones we want. So let's stay here. Now, units can drift a lot in this game. So I will try and keep an eye on the chat as best I can. So if anybody does have any questions or anything, or want to see something specific, let me know. So we'll go back to the rules, and we'll go to the drop. We place the 3 airborne companies. So this is a little bit tricky. So you basically drop the battalion, and then you roll for accuracy for the battalion. You roll for if assuming, well, it's always going to be off target. Well, almost always going to be off target. So there's almost always going to be some level of drift. So you roll for you drop the battalion. And then you roll for accuracy for the battalion, and then you roll for distance along the whatever random direction you have rolled for each company. So let's do that. And I'm probably not going to pull the table up because I've got the table in hard copy here. So the 508th, let's find them. That's these guys. Okay, so we're going to take. So I'm going to pull these, and if you hear my chair squeaking, I apologize for that too. So let's roll. So the airdrop accuracy, I'm rolling, and I'll show you the table right now, but I'm not going to pull it up for every single roll. So if we roll a 1, we get 1d6 divided in half. So if we roll a 1 on that, then that means that we drift to 0 and we land right on the Pathfinders. 2 to 5, it's 1d6, and a 6 is 2d6. So I'm almost tempted to reset the module because I've rolled a lot of 4s, a crazy number of 4s. All right, so let's roll for accuracy. We roll a 1, so we're on 1/2 d6. Let's roll for direction. Let me make sure I'm doing that right. Yeah, roll for the direction of the battalion. Okay, so the direction is going to be direction 4, so that's down here. So for the first company, we have a 1. So first company will go. Actually, the first company will land right on top. So, because this roll is for distance. The second company will, again, we divide by 2 and round down, so that's 1 in direction 4. And then for the third one, that is also 1. That is C company. All right, and these guys, well, for the 508th, we're done. And I wish they'd have put the battalions on top. All right, so let's roll for the second battalion. We have rolled a 6, so we're going to scatter 2d6 in direction 2. So let's roll 2d6. That is an 8 for the first unit. It's, direction 2 is this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we do have to be concerned if we land in certain kinds of terrain. This is farmland. Is that accurate? Hold on 1 second. Oop, it's Bokash. So this terrain is farmland. This terrain is Bokash. All right, so rolling for these guys. We're going to roll, that's 7. So they will land here. Let's count that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Yep, 7. Okay. Roll for the third C company. That is 6. Pseudo-random number generator is not doing so good. I will check in with the chat again as soon as I've dropped the 3rd battalion here, because I don't want to lose track of where I'm at. So for the 3rd battalion, we're going to drift 1/2 d6 in direction 5. So first company, once again, does not drift. Company C does not drift. That was company B, I would imagine. Actually, no, that was company E. So F company does not drift. Wow. Yeah, I feel like the random number generator's letting me down here for Vassal tonight. Anyway, let me check the chat real quick. Okay, so we do have some folks watching, so I want to thank anybody that I haven't thanked already that wasn't around for it for tuning in. I do apologize for any technical glitches that may occur during the course of this live stream. This is the first time I am actually live streaming. I did run some tests last night just to see if everything worked, and everything looked fine. My big fear was that I wasn't going to have enough upstream bandwidth to make this work, but as far as I was able to tell, it was pretty much okay. Okay, so let's kit the 507th, and this is the 1st Battalion of the 507th. Let's roll for the battalion for accuracy. We rolled a 3, which means we will scatter 1d6 in direction 5. So breaking them up, and I guess I can leave it there. Let me be OCD about this here. Okay. Then I'll drag all these back up to the holding box at some point. Okay, so 1d6 in direction 5. The first one will go 1 in direction 5. I'll put them here. Second will go 6 in direction 5, so that's 3. And that's 6, so they're kind of out of the way. And Company C will go 6 in direction 5. That's not a bad thing. So we have a phase. Oops, we have a phase after all the landings where we can recombine these units into either full battalions or reduced battalions, and it's probably to my advantage to do that. There are some fairly good German units here, like these. This is the 91st Infantry Division. This is 6th Fallschirmjäger, actually. And they're relatively formidable. You got a Panzer company, I presume. Looks like a company. So up here off the beach, not so much. This stuff's not that, except for these guys, the 709th. But anyway, we're nowhere near that point yet. So let's go back to the 507th. Let's hit 2nd Battalion. And 2nd Battalion is going to scatter 1d6 in direction 4. The first company, Company D, will go 2 in direction 4, right here. 1, 2. Second company will go 1. Did we say direction 4? Yeah, we did say direction 4. And Company F will go 3. OCD. Alright, so 3rd Battalion will drift 1d6 in direction 6. First company, G Company, will move 1 in direction 6. That is this direction, actually. H Company will go 2. And I Company will go 5. Hey, and actually, random looking number, that's novel. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, so up here. And I do have to be concerned if I land on top of German units. So you got these guys, for example, these Ost guys in Semiragulis, for example. So if you drop on, you know what? We'll deal with it when it comes up. I will not be concerned about it until it comes up. So the 505th. So let's work on the 505th. 1st Battalion. We're going to roll for accuracy. We've rolled a 6, so these guys are going to scatter 2d6. Now these guys could scatter into the Atlantic or into the Channel here and die with this roll. So we hopefully this won't go too badly. But that said, we haven't landed right on any worrisome terrain. So if we land on an enemy unit or full sea hex that's eliminated on a flooded or marsh hex, you have to roll for survival. And if you drop adjacent to German units, we undergo fire from them. So we have dropped adjacent to German units. So this is going to be, so both these guys do that. Let's see if that's everything. It's not. All right, so let's catch that up. So we have a attack strength 2 here. So we are going to roll a d10, and if we roll a 1 or 2, then do we? That's a good question. Do we interpret the die roll as a 0 as a 0? Unless I see something. Nope. Okay, it's always considered a 10. That's what I was looking for. That's what I thought. So basically, let's roll for this unit first. We roll a d10. We rolled a 6, so that unit is fine. We're trying to roll under the attack strength of that unit. We rolled a 5, so those guys are okay. These guys here, we need to roll a 2 or less to hit. They are fine. These guys adjacent, they are 4. They are fine. So one of the things that struck me, having gone through this before, is the general overall survivability of these guys. So unless they land, the way the combat works in the landing phases, where you're just trying to roll under the attack, equal to or under the attack strength, the units are super survivable. It seems to me. So, all right. So where were we here? We were on the 505th. Did we roll for these yet? I think no. I think that's what happens when I get distracted. Now we also do have, I should mention, we've also got the HQ and some artillery and an engine, airborne engineers, so we can drop those wherever we want. And I'm going to drop them last. All right, so let's assume we haven't rolled for the 505th yet. So we scatter 2d6. Now actually I remember that we did roll that. So we scattered 2d6. We scattered 2d6 in direction 4. Okay, so this roll. Nope. This is our scatter in direction 6. So we'll take this as the direction. Okay. But it is going to be 2d6. And we're going in direction 6, which is good because it means we're not going to land out in the ocean. So this is going to be a 4 hexes up here for A company. That's 7 hexes. So that's up here for B company. And C, oops, we need to roll 2d6 for that. C company is 10 hexes. So that's 4, 7, 10. All right, so these guys will undergo fire from this quite nice, actually, German infantry battalion. And I rolled a 4. So what happens here is that... where is it? I'm in the wrong rules section. If the attack is eliminated. So I think these guys don't have reduced strength sides, so we'll go to eliminated. And I don't recall whether we have to keep track of airborne replacements or not. For infantry and armor we do, but we can go to the eliminated units, I think. Right. These guys go somewhere. Yeah, okay, so they'll go here, so we can count them up later, and I'm cool with that. I don't see any reason to... I'm moving slow enough. Alright, so we're going to look at 2nd Battalion here on the 505th. And then we'll be done with the 82nd. So 2nd Battalion will drift 2d6 in direction 2. That's bad. That's this way. So they're literally going to like land on the landing craft. That's not quite true because the airborne drops are well before the landing. Well, in the sense of hours. So let's see how this works. They're going to go 6. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They land in farmland, so they're okay. Had they rolled a 7, they would have had to roll for survival. We have a 4. So these guys are basically okay. However, actually, we have to roll for... so this is one thing I got stuck on the first time doing this. And as far as I can tell, during these phases at least, these guys do have like an intrinsic combat value. This is an artillery. It's a coastal artillery unit. So I'm going to roll, and I need to roll a 1. So and it doesn't. So I guess I can... do that with a clean conscience. So let's roll for the 3rd unit. That's 9. These guys might be dead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow! They landed on the beach. That is amazing. Alright, so 3rd Battalion. They're going to drift 1d6 in direction 2. First guy's going to go 4. So that will put him here. Second guy is going to go 3. Put him here. And the third guy is going to go 5. Which will put him for 5, which will put him adjacent to these guys, so we'll roll on that. We are okay. All right, so that's the 82nd, except for the HQ. So we got to decide where we want the HQ here. So the bulk of the 82nd seems to have dropped down here. So I'm going to, and we roll for these individually. So I'm going to drop, let's see. There are 3, so they land on the move side, okay. The only player may wait. Oh boy. We got gliders too, which I think we do later on, yeah, okay. I'm looking for the rule where you drop the additional supplementary units. Artillery battalions, engineers, and division HQs are each considered to be individual units. Any reference to company, okay, so they basically go, they work exactly the same way. So let's drop the, so we have, do we have Pathfinders here? I believe we do. We do. All right, so we're going to drop the, one artillery with the 508th. So let's roll for accuracy. That's a D6 in direction 2, and we rolled a 6. So that's going to be a direction 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then for the other one, because they didn't land anywhere friggin' close to where I wanted them, let me drop them with the 507th. And they roll a 1d6 for accuracy in direction 6, and they will go 3 in direction 6. That's 1, 2, 3. That's suboptimal. We have to flip these to moved. We have to flip these to moved. I should try to put forth a greater effort to remember the hotkeys. Okay, so the 82nd HQ I think will drop with the 507th. And that's going to be a D6 in direction 2 for 4. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. We dropped the HQ in the fucking swamp. That is amazing. Okay, so now this is a good question, though. Any unit that's dropped into flooded marsh must roll for survival. So what do we roll? We roll a 6. 6 is eliminated. So if we flip that, this is like the activated side, though. Or it's the mobile side. So there's no section here about what happens if HQs take a loss. Elimination 7.8. So we got to look that up. If it's okay, it's a defense strength of 1. Core HQ have no defense strength. If a core HQ is attacked during the combat phase, it's automatically eliminated and placed on the next night turn on the turn record track. If a German HQ, okay, so I want to say that's what we're doing here. It's placed on the turn record track 1 full day from the turn they are eliminated. Okay. So, in that case, 82nd Airborne HQ is, in fact, eliminated. Let's zoom out here and put him on... Well, eliminated in the sense that we got to put him on the next day. So that's going to be June 7th. So, not much to be done about that. The one unit that lands in the flooded hex, too. And then we've got some airborne engineers. So, I think I want to hide units here for a second. And think about bridges we want to blow. And I want to say up here is where I'm thinking of. So I think we're going to drop the engineers with the 507th. They will drift 1d6 in direction 4, 4 hexes. So they will drift, that's his direction 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's not a terribly useful place for them. So, and I'm not 100% sure why you get like this extra Pathfinder counter in the Vassal module. That's just something. I'm going to clean this up real quick because I want to be tidy about this and organized. As you've seen already, I tend to like lose track where I'm at and forget stuff, so I'd prefer that not to happen. So check on the chat real quick. Got 3 folks watching. Thanks. Any questions, please pipe up. But I'm not. I don't have a second monitor going on here, so I don't have. I'm not looking at the chat constantly. If these things take off, if I get people that want to see these things, then I will hook up a second monitor. I have a second monitor; it's just not hooked up. So so let's grab the 101st, drag them down here, and zoom in some. This is like the, and this is weird because I got a huge monitor. This is just kind of my comfort level in terms of eye strain with these. So let's see, we got 501st, 502nd, 506th. So let's do the 501st first. Let's start with the 1st Battalion, and let's actually drag. Alright, so let's start with the 1st Battalion. For drop accuracy, they are going to drift D6 in direction 4. A company will drift 5 in direction 4, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're a little bit out of the way. That might not necessarily be a huge problem. It depends what else drops down there. So B company will drift 5 as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And C company will drift 3. So they will go 3. Now they land in the swamp. We need to check for survival for them. They die. Right. 4 to 6 they die, I want to say. I keep clicking on the wrong thing. That's the problem there. No effect, actually. 4 is, they're okay. So that's good. So looking at 2nd Battalion here, they are going to drift 1d6 in direction 1, and the first guy will drift 3 in direction 1. 1, 2, 3, lands right on the coast in the swamp. Oh, wait, this is direction 1. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so these guys are going to have to take 2 rolls here from these strong points. So the first one on a d10, we rolled a 9. The second one, we rolled a 10. So these guys are miraculously okay since they landed right between these giant fortifications. Second guy drifts 5 in direction 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's fun. He will take a shot from that strong point. We've rolled a 3, so this step is eliminated. And D company will drift 1 in direction 1, so he lands in the flooded area, and we'll have to roll for survival. He is eliminated as well. Okay, so 2nd Battalion did not do very well. So 3rd Battalion will drift in will drift 1d6 in direction 1. The first guy will go 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lands in the swamp. He is eliminated. Second guy will go 3. 1, 2, 3, and he lands here where he's not in the swamp, but he takes 2 shots from the strong points. That's a 6, and that's an 8, so he survives. And then Company I goes 2, and he's going to take a shot from the strong point of a 10, so he's okay as well. All right, so that is the 501st Regiment of the 101st Airborne. So let's check the chat real quick. So yeah, so right now, where I'm at with this, and I got like till January because both games are expensive, and I need to save up for them. So I have plenty of time to piss around with both titles. And right now, it seems to me that I'm giving Atlantic Wall, and I talked about this in the blog post, which I think went up today, because it was scheduled in advance. Right now, I feel like Atlantic Wall's got the edge. It is bigger, which is not really a selling point, but I mean, it's in terms of physical map space, like the table footprint. The two games seem like they're pretty close. Atlantic Wall's a little bit bigger, but in terms of counters and in terms of rules material, and in terms of, I think, rules depth and simulative value, Atlantic Wall is going to win. And I got to tell you that the new books for the GOS system rules and the Atlantic Wall specific rules are a big improvement. I mean, I totally bounced off the first. Well, I don't know if it was the first, but the old GOS rulebook that I looked at, I bounced off of it hard. And I mean, I'm not scared of complexity, so I'm pretty pleased with what I've seen of Atlantic Wall, but it is still complicated, and it is challenging. It's going to be challenging to learn it. So, and in particular, if I don't have anybody specific to teach it to me, that's going to be, it's going to make it more difficult. All right, so let's move along to the 502nd. And let's roll for 1st Battalion on them. We're going to drift 1d6 in direction 3. A company will drift 4 in direction 3. So direction 3 is these guys. 1, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So right in 506th neighborhood. B company will drift 5. So they will land here. C company will also drift 5. Okay, so that's intriguing. But I'll be able to combine these guys later. So that's not a bad thing. All right, so 2nd Battalion of the 502nd will drift 1d6 in direction 2. D company will go 2. No, he'll go 3. He does land in the swamp, so we got to roll for survival. 5 or 6, he's eliminated. He is eliminated. E company 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, you know what? He's okay. He's literally on the beach, and there's like no Germans around him, so he's doing good. I did not check these 2 units from the 502nd for the attack to get from the strong points. So let's hit the first one with a 5, a 7. So the first one's okay. The second one, he is going to be eliminated at that, and I think I did him for the other 2, so I think we're okay there. So one disadvantage of having, if I had a second monitor, I could keep the rules up on the second monitor too, and kind of constantly be looking back and forth. All right, so 502nd. So we're going in direction 2, right? Yeah. So we're going to go 3. And we need to roll for survival for him. Landed in the flooded hex. That's a 4. He is okay. All right. And the last of the 502nd. This battalion will drift half a d6 in direction 2. First guy drifts 2. We round down, remember. In direction 2. So he'll drift 2. You know, these guys are super accurate. This guy's okay. This guy will drift 1. So he's okay. And I company will drift 1. Okay. So we move on to the 506th. So organizing the breakdowns in the vassal module is a bit of a pain. We have this breakdown thing, but you can also keep these in the onboard display, and I'm not really clear on why you're only supposed to use that. So in any event, I will just kind of. That's why I've kind of got everything laid out on the in the channel here. So let's move on to the 506th, and we've got a 2. So that's going to be a 1d6 drift from the 506 Pathfinder in direction 3. So A company is going to go 4 in direction 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, lands in the flooded hex. He is okay. B company is going to go 2. Wait a minute. We rolled 2. So these guys are actually going to land here. As are these guys. Next guy's going to go 5 in direction. Are we rolling in direction 3? I'm totally losing track of where I'm going here. I'm gonna take that as a 3. So actually, I think these guys did land in down here. So 2, 3, 4. So I have an extra roll in there somewhere. I'm gonna start fresh with this guy. So he's gonna drift 6. That's gonna take him 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's got a roll to survive. He is okay. All right. The 506th 2nd Battalion will drift 1d6 in direction 3. D Company, that's also direction 3, will drift 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Land here. Roll to survive. He is okay. This guy will drift 1 to land here. And he has to roll an attack from both strong points. And a 3 will eliminate him. And this guy goes 3. 1, 2, 3. He is safe. Alright, the 3rd and final battalion. Then we're done with the American airdrops. We got the British airdrops too. We're going to drift 2d6, however, in direction 1. So again, there is a danger that these guys will land out in the channel and drown. Alright, so first guy goes 7. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lands in the channel, eliminated. Next guy lands in the channel, eliminated. Next guy goes 6. I think this guy lands on the beach. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lands on the beach, but he takes fire from this strong point and survives. Alright, so for the 101st, we have an airborne engineer and an artillery and the 101st HQ. So I'm going to drop the 101st HQ with, I want to say, the 506th. And they'll drift 1d6 in direction 2 for 1. That is almost totally optimal. Right here. He does take fire. 10, so nothing happens. It'd be great if both U.S. airborne divisions got eliminated. So let's look at the 101st's deployment area here and see if there's any bridges we want to blow. Not really. Yeah, this one right here. It's Saint Combes de Mont. So we're going to drop, but they've got time here, so I'm going to drop them with the 506th as well. They're going to drop, scatter 1d6 in direction 5. They're going to go 2. So it's going to be 1, 2. I can live with that. And then the artillery. The fiercest fighting is going to be happening down here, so I'm going to drop them with the 506 as well. They will scatter half a d6 in direction 6 for 2, so they will go 2 in direction 6. That's 1, 2, lands in the swamp, and is eliminated. So the artillery drowned. It's cool that you can toggle the range on, though. I like that feature of the module. So we'll eliminate that. And we are done with 101st, so let's zoom out. And store these guys up here. Just to get them out of the way. Since I've already got a bunch of Utah Beach guys laid out here. Let's check the chat real quick. Okay, 5 folks watching. I want to thank any newcomers for joining. I am bashing my way through the airdrop rules for Battle for Normandy here. So I need to zoom in, for one thing. And then I need to figure out what the hell I did here. So we got the... Okay, so this is exactly what's supposed to happen for the most part. So this is the... We got the HQ here as well. So these guys will drop 5th, 5th, 5th. So these guys will all drop, whoops, all drop down here. I'm going to get them down here. Come on, there we go. All right. And then I'll move these guys over here as well. So these are guys going to drop at the 5th. So for the British, we're going to go north to south here. So we're going to do the 3rd Brigade first. And in Atlantic Wall, there's modifiers for the British scattering less, and which happened historically. As far as I remember, there's no such provision in the Battle for Normandy. Feel free to pipe up in the chat if somebody has a correction on that. Also, if you're experiencing any volume issues or excessive noise or anything like that, mention it so that I can try and make adjustments to mic gain or whatever I need to look at. All right, so these guys are all companies, right? Okay, good. So I kind of lost what I was doing when I was breaking these guys down. So this brigade in this case will scatter half a d6 in direction 3. First company will go 5 in direction 3, so that rounds halved and round down to a 2. So that'll go 2 right here. Second company will go 2. Third company will go 1. So a key point here is going to be to take this area. So you've got these 2 bridges over the Orne River and the Orne Canal, and we need to try and capture these. Now, of course, the British historically get stuck down here for like weeks, but we are not going to get that far tonight. So that's it for the 3rd Brigade. So the 5th Brigade, I believe I have the nomenclature correct on that. And we got some Canadians that drop up here as well. So 1st Brigade will drift d6 in direction 1. Well, I should say it's this is the 13th Brigade, not the 1st Brigade, but it is the 1st Brigade I'm doing from this. Would that be a battalion? I guess that would be a battalion. I'm not familiar enough with the British lingo. Anyway, they're going to drift 1d6 in direction 1. The first guy will go 1. And he will undergo fire from that strong point. He is okay. Second guy will go in direction, actually 3. So he will land on top of this. So we have to double check that. Drop down to an enemy unit or full C hex, it is eliminated. Boom. And this guy goes 6. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Way out of the way. Takes fire from the strong point, and he is okay. Alright, so these 2 guys from this brigade will go 2d6 in direction 1. So let's roll 2d6 though. So that's 9 in direction 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Lands out in the channel, is toast. Oops. Second guy rolls 10. He's eliminated as well. Let me undo that. Yeah, okay. So this is some kind of like weird split thing, I guess. Alright, so this group here is going to drift 1d6 in direction 3. First unit will go 2. in direction 3, 1, 2 to land on top of the wrong Pathfinders, which is hilarious. The second guy will go 1. And then we've got the 12th here, which will drift 1d6 in direction 2. So 1d6 in direction 2. So we rolled a 4. So he'll go here, land in a marsh, and be okay. Second guy will go 1, land in the woods, not the worst place to be. The other guy will go 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's got to roll for survival. Whoops, rolled the wrong die. Okay, he's okay. And then we go up here. So let me check this out real quick. So see, I mixed these stacks up. So what we got here is 1 brigade of, or battalion, or whatever it's called in the British Army. We have 1 unit of Canadians and 1 unit of British. So they're going to drop on this Pathfinder, or try. They're going to drift, we're going to do this guy first. They're going to drift 1d6 in direction 3. First guy will go 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Second guy will go 6, which will put him 1, 2, 3 in the swamp. He is eliminated. So the amount of time necessary, the next guy will go 4, 6, and that's here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's here, but he is in the swamp, so he'll have to roll for survival, and he's okay. So the amount of time it takes for the airdrops, we're almost done with the airdrops, and we've spent about 50 minutes on it, something like that. So that's not bad. It takes substantially longer in Atlantic Wall. But that said, I felt like the results that you got out of the system in Atlantic Wall for doing the airdrops and determining drift and all that stuff, I felt like it produced results that were a bit more organic. And I may get into that at a later point. So let's look at these Canadians. We're going to drift to D6 in direction 4. First company will go 2 in direction 4. 1, 2 lands on top of a strong point and is thereby eliminated. Fosses das! This guy will go 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Land again on top of the wrong Pathfinder. And this guy will go 1, which will park him on a coastal artillery battery. But as far as I am able to ascertain, this counts as an enemy unit, and therefore he's eliminated. So that was the whole airborne landing. So I'd like to, if anybody, folks want to hang around, I can keep going. Because next, if we look here, we're going to go to airborne movement. So after all airborne units have dropped, landing casualties have been resolved, the allied player may move any or all airborne units up to 1 hex. Now I interpret this to mean that you don't have to worry about the movement cost of those hexes. They may combine at this time after they move. Stacking rules will apply after the 1 hex movement. Okay. Airborne units that land adjacent to German units can move, but can't move from enemy ZOC to enemy ZOC. So we have to look, and I'm definitely going to finish this part up, because if I don't, I'm never going to pick this back up. So let's go west to east here. So these guys are both part of the 1st battalion of the 507th Regiment. Okay, so the way this works is, and now is when I think I want to pull these guys over to this panel, because this will be a lot easier to deal with here. Alright, so I've got 2 of the 3 companies of this battalion stacked together. Now they can move, and I think we're going to do all the movement first. So I'm going to be able to swap them in, because there's only 2 of them. The battalion will be at reduced strength. So let's see here. So we can't make this move, right? So I can't move this this guy onto here, because we've got enemy ZOC to enemy ZOC. So we can't do that, but we can look at this hex. So this is the 1st of the 508th. So we can take this guy, move him here. You know what we need to do is remove our movement markers. Okay, That way he's marked as having moved. All right, and then in the rest of the stack, we've got the 2nd of the 508th, 2nd of the 508th, 2nd of the 508th. Okay, so let's actually pull 1, 2, 3, pull this entire pile off, and replace it with the full strength 2nd of the 508th. And we want that to be marked as move, though. That's a good question. Does that count as a move? Because none of them moved. The entire battalion landed here. So I'm going to say, can I... I can. Okay, good. So it doesn't say, so I'm going to interpret it as you can do that. So we've got the 507th here, the 507th here. So we're going to take the 2nd of the 507th and replace them with a full strength battalion. But this has moved. Alright, is there any more consolidation that I can do down here? I believe the answer to that is no. And since I'm doing this anyway, 1st to the 507th will flip and then come on right here. Looking up here, we've got the 3rd, and the other 3rd is up here, so we can't get up there. Where do we want to go? I would say we want to go here. And this is the 3rd of the 507th, so let's flip this. Bring it on in. That looks okay. I'm not really going in order here. West to east. But let's definitely go north to south here. All right, so once again, we can't go. So I guess the question is, does this coastal artillery unit throw a ZOC? I don't know. I would think it not at all outlandish if it doesn't. All ground units exert a ZOC. Okay. I interpret that to be crystal clear. All right, so we got the 3rd of the 505th, 3rd of the 505th, 3rd of the 505th. Okay, so what we can do here is we can pull this guy over here, this guy over here, and then we have all of the 3rd of the 505th in this hex. This unit is not moved. But we're going to interpret this as having moved. So 3rd of the 505th goes here with a moved on it. Now, a question, however, is do we wish to, and I think we do, wish to position ourselves to try to take out this coastal battery. I think that sounds like a good idea to me. So these guys on the beach are from vastly different units, so they're not going to be able to do anything in that respect. They can't move from enemy ZOC to enemy ZOC, but they could move here to get out of the friggin' way on the beach, which would be useful. And this guy will move up here. I need to check the terrain effects chart for that, just to make sure it's not prohibited. I believe it is not. It is not. So we're okay with that. So these guys may end up being sacrificial guys, so we'll see what happens with that. So moving right along, I'm gonna go at least through the movement and combat segments. So I'm gonna finish the airborne phase. That's how late I plan to run here. So we got the 3rd of the 502nd, and here's the other 3rd of the 502nd. So we're gonna take this whole stack. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. So that was, let's undo that. Did we get all the 82nd guys? I think we did. So we can pull all this stuff back out. 1st, 3rd, 1st of the 508th, 3rd of the 505th. Whoops. My OCD will not allow me to just throw these around, because I do want to be able to find this stuff later if I have to. 2nd of the 508th, 2nd of the 507th, 3rd of the 508th. All right, so that's good. So let's pull the 101st out. I'll be honest, I'm going to end up using this little panel for more than just breakdowns. All right, so we're going over here, and we have the 3rd of the 502nd, so we can bring these guys in as a full-strength battalion with a moved flag. So these two are from the 2nd, but they can't combine because they can't move. This guy to move here would be moving from enemy ZOC to enemy ZOC, and the same thing with this. He'd move into different units ZOC, so he can't go anywhere. He can back off. Oh, this guy already moved anyway. But I'm actually relatively satisfied with this placement. So looking down here, so we got the 1st, the 502nd, 1st, the 502nd. All right, so let's take this stack. This is going to be the 1st, the 502nd. Let's move it here. And let's take this unit, flip it, bring it in here. This stack is the 2nd, 3rd, and 1st. So this is like a completely bastardized unit. The 2nd can move in. The 506th. These are all 501st. These guys are 506th. First, 2nd, and 3rd of the 5. Wait, we got 501st in here. So we do have one from the 506th. 1st of the 506th. All right, so let's take this guy who's 1st of the 506th. This guy who's 1st of the 506th. Put them there. This guy's 2nd of the 506th. These guys are from the 501st. All right, so this guy and this guy flip this, bring it in here. Let's see here. I think that's basically it. No, yeah, it might be. Alright, so we're going to move this stack here, this stack here. That's the entire 1st Battalion of the 501st. So we'll bring that in here. And we have a somewhat of a position to look at hitting Carentan. I mean, this isn't going to be enough juice to do that, but... So I believe... 2nd and 1st, so that is all these guys can do. This unit is the 2nd of the 506. Actually, so what I can do here is I can pull this guy in, and then there's this, and there's this. So the 2nd of the 506 can go there too, at reduced. The stacking limit is 6 per hex, so for normal hexes. For the beach hexes, it's different. And that's probably all the consolidation that I'm able to do on this side of the map, I believe. These guys are from completely different battalions. They are. Alright, so that's that. Let me deposit these guys back up here. 1st of the 501st. 1st of the 502nd. Pathfinders. So I will apologize, I guess, for being so fussy about this. But like I said, I do find that I miss enough stuff. I mean, being fussy saves me trouble in the long run. So let's go find the Commonwealth Airborne. We have their breakdown units here. We will see what we are able to do with these. So, we've got 2 guys from the 12th here, and 1 guy from the 9th. So what we're going to do, I think, is break this up. We'll move this guy here. And where's the 9th? There we go. We're going to mark. All right, and then these guys are A and C companies out of the 12th. So this will come in flipped as well. There's one Canadian here. All right, so these guys will move. We want to generally move toward the river here because we want to secure as much as possible. So we have A, B, and C from the 8th here. We're going to combine them right here into a full strength battalion or whatever it is. And we have the 7th. We can push them up here. What else is there? Okay, so we can take the 7th, reduce them, come on. Reduce them and drop them here. And that may be all the consolidation that we can do. So historically, the British did not drop well at all. But let's park these guys. Oh, we never dropped the HQ, so we need to do that. We're going out of sequence for this, but so what are our choices? I think we're going to try and drop here on the 5th. So we're going to roll for drift 1d6 in direction 4, and we're going to go 2 in direction 4. So that's going to be 1, 2. So that could be worse. You can toggle supply range on these two, so I found that feature of the vessel module to be a little bit flaky. Let me see, make sure we still got people watching here. Because if I'm alone, then I might keep playing. I don't know. I'm having fun. So I like to talk and I like to play these games. So between the two, this whole thing's making me happy. So this whole live streaming thing is something I didn't really think I was going to be able to do because of bandwidth limitations, because my bandwidth is not that great. My upstream, my download bandwidth is okay, but my upstream bandwidth is crap. And just based on what Twitch tells people that you want for live streaming, it seemed like I was going to have about 40% of what I needed. But in fact, as far as you guys let me know in the chat, but as far as I can tell, it pretty much looks fine. You can't I think you can't really do this in less than 1080p because you're looking at counters. It can be relatively small. I try and keep it big because I got bad eyes. But you're looking at counters that are relatively small, and it's at low resolution. I think that's not a good idea. Okay, so we're moving to the airborne combat segment here. During this segment, the allied player may fire at adjacent German units. So this is you use this fire combat thing where you basically just roll the attack factor. So let's start with the Americans, and this I'm going to actually zoom out one step for so I can get a little bit of bigger picture. So at any adjacent enemy unit, I can fire. Where are their adjacent enemy units? Well, for example, we have here at, what is this French place called? Pont-l'Abbé, I guess. So here's the funny thing here. So I interpret this as, the way this works, as meaning that I choose which of these units I attack. Okay, and the way this works is I just roll. I roll my attack factor or less, and the unit loses a step. So I could try to eliminate this HQ. I think that's super gamey and cheesy. So I'm going to do it. So let's try for the HQ. Now we got this guy that can make this shot, and he needs a 1, and he rolls a 2. This guy can also make this shot. He needs a 1, and he rolls a 4. So that is a bust. We have, what do we got here? Okay, so we have 2 units here. This guy can roll on this battalion up here. He needs a 1. He rolls a 7. He does not succeed. This guy needs a 1. He rolls a 6. He does not succeed. Now the Germans are going to get to shoot back here in a minute. So the last attacks on this particular part of the map are this guy. He will roll, try to roll a 1. Nope. This guy will try to roll a 1. Nope. This guy will try to roll a 1. Nope. Okay. So we got a better shot on these. Now these are one-step units, so eliminating them would be kind of a big deal. So we've got a lot of guys around the thing here. So let's take it from the top. And a lot of guys adjacent to one or the other. So we're going to go first. We'll hit this one from here, and we need a 2 or less. We roll a 1. This unit is eliminated. It loses a step. So if it was an actual multi-step unit, it would lose a step. But these guys only have 1 step. So we can take 3 rolls against this strong point. 1, 2, 3. Oh, the last one was a 1. So this guy took out this strong point. So that's significant. We don't have anything to do down in the south over by Carentan for the Americans. Did I roll here? I believe I did not. So we'll roll. Did we roll a 1? We do not. So that is a bust. However, eliminating these 2 I think was a big deal. So I believe the American player has to be fairly satisfied with the way that turned out. Over in the British sector, we have coastal artillery. So we can try and roll a 1 here. We roll a 7, so that does nothing. Pathfinders aren't really a ground. I'm not 100% sure it reads this way, but I'm going to interpret Pathfinders as not a ground unit. This guy will take a shot up here. He rolls a 10. That does nothing. I think that's it. Since half the British paratroopers dropped in the friggin' channel. So that's the end of the airborne combat segment. There's no advance or retreat here. So the German player may move any unit with a movement allowance of 1 or more that is currently within 2 hexes of an allied airborne unit up to 1 movement point into a non-beach hex according to normal movement rules. So they only get 1 movement point is the way that works. So, but they can only move if they are within 2 hexes, okay? So, for example, this guy does not have a movement allowance, so he cannot move here. This is a completely static unit. They're not going anywhere anyway. This guy is within 2 hexes of Allied Airborne, however, and he gets 1 movement point. Now, looking at the terrain effects chart, which is not included in the module, this is a clear hex. It costs 1 for non-mechanized movement. This would be non-mechanized. So this guy... So the question is, I feel like, according to German World War II doctrine, they would move to counterattack. So we're going to move here. The alternative would be to move here to Ranville, where they could probably more effectively block access here. But I think we want to try and neutralize as much as possible. And there's a halfway decent shot to do that in this phase. So there's no other legitimate German movement up here because there's nobody else that can move within 2 hexes of Allied Airborne. However, that is not going to be the case over here, where there is rather a lot to do. Okay, so this is farmland. What is the movement cost of farmland for non-mechanized? It is 2, so they cannot make that move, but they can move to Carentan, and they will do that. I'm going to assume, once again, that this is not considered a ground unit for this purpose. So this guy cannot move. He is not within 2 hexes. No down here. These guys are all static. I am satisfied to leave this here. These guys can move. These guys could move, but they can also stay in St. Mary Gleason and counterattack from there, and I think they're going to. These guys could get better frontage. So we're going to move... what's the stacking value on that? It's a 2. So these guys can move to Pont-l'Abbé. Is there a ZOC restriction? Yeah, because you're exiting a ZOC hex. It costs 2 extra movement points. So I think we're not prohibited from ZOC to ZOC, but de facto it doesn't really work here. Let's see. What I'd like to do is get here, but I can't move to this hex because it would cost 2 points, and I only have 1. So I think what we do is we move into Pont-l'Abbé. have to be satisfied with that. This guy didn't move, but he's satisfied where he's at. That is it. That is everybody within 2. Okay, so the German combat, before fire combat, using exactly the same deal. Glider landings happen when? Glider units. I'll have to look at the sequence for that. Well, it doesn't have. I'm pretty sure it doesn't happen now. So, moving east to west. Sorry, west to east. We've got 2 German units with an attack factor. Each have 2. So we're going to get to roll against this one for the unit on the bottom. He rolls a 7. This guy will roll against one of these units, actually, preferentially. And he rolls a 2, so he actually will eliminate one of these 2 units. Okay. This guy in St. Marguerite will counterattack out against this guy. Rolls a 4, that does nothing. And like I said before, as far as I can tell, no artillery support is allowed in 2 or more German units. So I believe that these coastal units actually cannot fire, because artillery normally cannot fire at adjacent units. So I'm going to say I'm going to stick with that story. We rolled on this already. I believe that's it for over here. It is. Let's roll over east and look at the British. Nothing. But this guy's got something. He's going to roll here against the Canadians. It's actually the other units, the Pathfinder. 7. He fails, actually. That was the best shot of this whole sequence. So that's too bad for the Germans. All right. So at this point, we are done with the June 6th night turn, which covers the Allied airborne landings. And I want to say I want to stop here because I don't feel we've gone for over an hour. So let me check the chat to see if anybody's. So thanks, Mariano. It's nice to see you here. It's looking pretty good. I'm reasonably happy with the tests and everything, the way everything worked out. There's some stuff I got to work out. I'm pretty sure I'm just doing it wrong of stuff through YouTube, and far as like scheduling the event and then actually doing the event. I seemed to have to do completely separately. I couldn't activate the stream from events for whatever reason. But everything seems to be working okay, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. So I do kind of want to make this a, I don't want to say regular affair, but I do want to do more of this because this was fun. I'd like to get more people involved, of course, but that's okay. You know, I'm ultimately, I don't know that anybody doing this kind of content on YouTube is doing it because we want the accolades. Because there's not that many accolades. We're a super small hobby, and I'm doing this because I like to do it. And for me, this was, you know, I had already walked through these rules, so there wasn't really that much rules lookup, so it wasn't too slow, and it was pretty mechanical. So I think next time, and feel free to comment if you've managed to like sit through this on the stream when it gets posted to the channel, or say something in the chat right now as to whether you would like to see me continue the landing and post-landing stuff in Battle for Normandy, or whether you would like to see me do the same thing, the same sequence, in Atlantic Wall 2 instead. It's substantially more involved and time-consuming in Atlantic Wall, but at the same time, you could certainly get a sense of it in an hour or an hour and a half. So, I mean, we can get that far, and I've walked through that as well. Which I sort of half showed the other night when I posted the completely stream of consciousness thing. So, I mean, what I'm seeing, I guess I will close with where I'm at, bearing in mind what we just did, and as far as I am learning the Battle for Normandy, where I am with Battle for Normandy versus Atlantic Wall. So I talked about this at length in the blog post, so go check that out. There'll be a link in the note. It's ardwulfslair.wordpress.com. So If you want to go check that out, please do. Where I talk about this at length, and I'm still, where I'm at right now, I'm still leaning towards Atlantic Wall. There's lots of time because these are both $150 to $200 purchases, and really, Battle for Normandy, you really want the expansion too. Now, I have seen the game. I don't know about Shrink Wrap, but at least on Punch, go with the expansion for about 175. So some amount of patience is a good idea, but that's generally good advice anyway. So we're going to continue to work on this. I'm going to continue to explore this topic, along with maybe I'll do some stuff on some other games that cover this subject. So we've got as I showed in the stream the other night, we've got Day of Days, Standard Combat System, Standard Combat Series, whatever the hell it's called. Cool looking game. It's kind of below the level that I'm interested in because it's a company level game. And despite what this looks like, after the landings, Battle for Normandy is a battalion level game. Firmly a battalion level game. There are some company size units, but once you get like these 3-step units that flip, and then if they take another step, they reduce to companies. But you'll see a lot more company size units on the map in Atlantic Wall. But it's also a battalion level game. But so I think I want to kill it here. I've had a lot of fun. So let me know your thoughts as to whether you'd like to see me continue Battle for Normandy or switch over to Atlantic Wall. The chances are pretty good that there will be more of both games headed to the channel. So because this is kind of where I'm at right now. And like I said, I might take a poke at some of these other things too. But like something like Normandy 44, I've played that both through Vessel and as a solitaire exercise, and face to face. And so I don't need to learn that. I'm real happy with Normandy 44. It's awesome, but I don't need to learn any more about it. This I'm learning. Atlantic Wall I'm learning. So I hope everybody's had a good time. I want to thank you for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel if bizarrely somebody who is not subscribed to the channel has sat through an hour and 24 minutes of this. And have a great night.